God said, "Don't leave home until you see this." That instruction is not casual. It is not ordinary. It is a divine interruption to your routine, a holy pause placed in your path for a reason you may not yet fully understand. Because there are moments when heaven speaks, and if you move too quickly, if you rush past the whisper, you may miss the very sign that was meant to shift your entire life. There's a calling that few understand. It does not come with applause. It does not arrive with clarity at first. It often feels like confusion, like delay, like being held back while others move forward. But what you call delay, God calls preparation. What you feel is restriction is actually protection. Because when God tells you not to leave, it is not to limit you. It is to align you. Some of you have been feeling this tension. You are ready to move, ready to go, ready to step out, but something deep within keeps saying wait. And it frustrates you. It stretches you. It even makes you question yourself. But that voice is not there to confuse you. It is there to position you. Because there is something you must see before you step into what's next. God does not release you empty. He does not send you out without revelation. There's always a moment where your eyes are opened, where you see clearly what you could not see before. And that sight changes everything. It changes how you walk, how you speak, how you decide, how you trust. Without that vision, you would step out too early, attach yourself to the wrong things, align with the wrong people, and miss the depth of what God actually prepared for you. This is why the instruction is so specific. Don't leave until you see this. Because what you are about to see is not physical, it is spiritual. It is an awakening. It is the moment when confusion turns into clarity, when fear turns into conviction, when doubt loses its voice. It is the moment when you finally understand that what you've been going through is never random. There are patterns breaking in your life. There are cycles ending. There are things quietly being removed, even now. And you might not understand why certain doors closed, why certain people walked away, why certain plans failed. But what you're about to see will explain all of it. It will bring a peace that does not come from answers, but from revelation. And here is the truth. This kind of calling is not for everyone. It is for those willing to wait when waiting makes no sense. It is for those who can sit in the silence and still trust the voice of God. It is for those who are not driven by urgency, but by obedience, because obedience will take you further than ambition ever could. You are not being overlooked. You're being set apart, and being set apart often feels like isolation. It feels like being misunderstood. It feels like standing still while the world rushes past you. But what you don't see is that in this stillness, God is shaping you, refining you, teaching you to recognize His voice above all others. Because once you see this, once your spirit catches what God is revealing, you will not move the same. You will not chase the same things. You will not settle for what once satisfied you. Your standards will shift. Your desires will realign. Your direction will become undeniable. So don't rush out of this moment. Don't escape the process. Stay until you see. Stay until your heart is settled. Stay until your spirit is clear. Because when you finally step out, it won't be out of pressure. It will be out of purpose. And when you move with purpose, nothing can stop what God has already ordained. There are moments when God speaks in a way that interrupts everything you thought you were about to do. And this is one of those moments. The instruction is clear, yet it feels uncomfortable. Don't leave yet. Stay where you are until you see what I am about to reveal. This kind of command does not align with human urgency. It goes against the natural instinct to move, to act, to take control of your next step. But when God speaks like this, it is not to slow you down without purpose. It is to position you in a place where your eyes can finally open. Many people misunderstand this kind of waiting. They assume it is a sign of being stuck, a sign that nothing is happening, a sign that life has paused. But in the spiritual realm, waiting is never empty. Waiting is filled with quiet movements, unseen shifts, and divine alignment that cannot be rushed. When God tells you not to leave, it means there is something in your current place that you have not yet recognized. There is a truth forming, a clarity developing, a revelation building that will change the way you see everything around you. This instruction often comes when you are ready to move forward. You have plans, expectations, and a sense of direction, yet something deep within restrains you. It may not even be loud. It may not be dramatic. It may simply be a subtle hesitation, a gentle resistance that you cannot ignore. And that is where the challenge begins, because obedience in this moment requires trust beyond logic. It requires you to believe that staying is more powerful than moving, that seeing is more important than doing. God does not operate under pressure, and he does not respond to your timeline. When he says wait, it is because he sees what you cannot yet see. He knows what is ahead, what is hidden, what is forming behind the scenes. If you step out too soon, you may walk into something that looks right, but is not aligned. You may connect with opportunities that seem promising, but lack the foundation needed to sustain you. You may make decisions based on incomplete understanding, and those decisions can lead to confusion that could have been avoided if you had simply stayed long enough to see. There's also a deeper layer to this instruction. It is not only about what is outside of you. It is about what is happening within you. God is preparing your heart to receive what he is about to show you. Because sometimes the reason you cannot see clearly is not because the vision is absent, but because your perspective is not yet ready. Waiting becomes a process of inner transformation, where distractions are stripped away, where your focus sharpens, where your spirit becomes sensitive to what truly matters. In this place, patience is not passive. It is active trust. It is choosing to remain when every part of you wants to move. It is resisting the urge to force progress and instead allowing God to unfold revelation at the right moment. Because when the moment comes, when your eyes finally open, you will understand why the instruction was so specific, why the timing was so precise, why leaving too early would have cost you something you were never meant to lose. What feels like delay often carries a weight that is difficult to explain because it presses against your expectations and challenges your sense of progress. You look around and see others moving ahead, doors opening, opportunities appearing, and it creates a quiet question inside you. Why am I still here? But what you call delay is not inactivity. It is a hidden preparation that does not announce itself, a process that works beneath the surface where no one else can see. God is not wasting time in your life. He is investing in your foundation. Preparation is rarely comfortable because it requires dismantling what cannot go with you into the next season. There are habits being confronted, mindsets being reshaped, attachments being loosened. You may not even notice it happening at first, but over time you begin to feel the shift. Things that once felt normal start to feel out of place. Conversations that once satisfied you begin to feel empty. Environments that once felt familiar begin to feel restrictive. This is not confusion. It is transformation quietly taking place within you. There is also a refining that happens in this hidden season. God is not only preparing what is around you. He is refining who you are. He is strengthening your character, teaching you endurance, building a depth in you that cannot be developed in moments of ease. Because what is coming next in your life will require more than excitement. It will require stability, discernment, and the ability to stand firm when things become uncertain. Without this preparation, the weight of your calling could overwhelm you. Sometimes the delay is actually protection. There are things you have desired, doors you have wanted to walk through, paths you have considered stepping onto, but God has kept you back. Not because those things were entirely wrong, but because they were not right for you in this moment. Timing matters. Alignment matters. And stepping into something too early can create complications that could have been avoided if you had allowed God to complete the preparation first. This hidden work also involves breaking patterns that have followed you for years. Cycles that kept repeating, decisions that led to the same outcomes, emotional responses that limited your growth. These are being addressed in this season. It may feel like you are facing the same challenges again, but this time it is different. This time you're being given the awareness and the strength to respond differently, to break what once controlled you, to step out of what once defined you. And while all of this is happening, it can feel silent. There may be no visible signs, no clear indicators that something significant is taking place. But the absence of visible progress does not mean the absence of divine movement. God often works in ways that are not immediately recognized, shaping your life in dimensions that cannot be measured by outward success. In this preparation, you are being aligned with purpose in a way that cannot be rushed. Every delay carries intention. Every pause holds meaning. Every moment of waiting is building something within you that will eventually support everything ahead of you. And even if it does not make sense right now, even if it feels like you are standing still while everything else moves, there is a deeper reality unfolding, one that will reveal itself at the right time, when you're no longer the same person who first entered the season. There comes a moment in the journey where something shifts within you so deeply that you cannot explain it in ordinary words. It is not something you learn from people, and it is not something you achieve through effort. It is something revealed. This is the moment of spiritual sight, where what was once hidden begins to unfold before you, not with noise or spectacle, but with a quiet certainty that settles in your spirit. You begin to see differently, and that changes everything. Before this moment, confusion may have surrounded you. You question the delays, the closed doors, the silence, the detours that made no sense. You try to connect the pieces, but nothing seemed to form a clear picture. It felt like walking through a fog, moving forward without understanding where you were truly going. But when this awakening comes, the fog begins to lift. Not all at once, not in a dramatic flash, but in a way that gradually brings clarity where there was once uncertainty. This kind of sight is not physical. It is not about what your eyes can see in the natural world. It is about perception at a deeper level. It is the ability to recognize what God has been doing all along, even in the moments you thought nothing was happening. You begin to understand why certain things did not work out, why certain relationships ended, why certain opportunities never materialized. What once felt like loss starts to reveal itself as direction. What once felt like confusion starts to make sense as protection. There's also a shift in how you hear. The noise that once distracted you begins to lose its influence. Opinions, pressures, expectations that once shaped your decisions no longer carry the same weight. Instead, there is a clarity in your spirit that becomes stronger than the voices around you. You begin to discern more carefully, to recognize what aligns and what is not, to feel a sense of conviction that guides you without forcing you. This moment of sight also brings a deep internal peace. Not because everything around you is perfect, but because something within you has settled. The urgency fades. The need to rush disappears. The pressure to figure everything out is replaced by a quiet confidence that you are being led, even if every step is not yet visible. It is a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a steadiness that remains even when things are still unfolding. At the same time, this awakening challenges you, because once you see, you cannot go back to not seeing. You cannot return to old patterns with the same comfort. You cannot ignore what has been revealed. There's a responsibility that comes with clarity, a calling to move differently, to choose differently, to live with a deeper awareness of what truly matters. And this is why the timing of this moment is so important. If it had come earlier, you may not have recognized it. If it had been forced, it would not have carried the same depth. But now, after everything you have walked through, after every moment of waiting and preparation, your spirit is ready to receive it in a way that will not be easily shaken. There's a calling that does not fit into ordinary expectations, a path that cannot be measured by how quickly you move or how visible your progress appears to others. It is a calling few understand because it requires a level of surrender that most people avoid. It asks you to let go of the need for constant validation, to release the pressure of comparison, and to step into a life directed by obedience rather than urgency. This is where many turn back because the cost of being set apart can feel heavier than the comfort of blending in. To walk in this kind of calling means you will often feel out of place. Not because something is wrong with you, but because you are no longer aligned with what once felt normal. The conversations shift. The desires change. The things that once motivated you lose their pull. And while others may not understand why you have become different, you begin to recognize that this difference is intentional. It is the evidence of a deeper work taking place within you, shaping you for something that cannot be carried by who you used to be. There's also a loneliness that can come with this path. Not always the absence of people, but the absence of being fully understood. You may find yourself surrounded by others, yet still aware that your journey is not the same. Your decisions may not make sense to those around you. The way you wait, the way you move, the way you choose may seem unusual. But this is part of being led rather than driven. When your direction comes from God, it will not always align with the expectations of people. Obedience becomes the foundation of everything in this calling. Not partial obedience, not delayed obedience, but a willingness to respond even when it costs you something. Because there will be moments when following the instruction of God means walking away from opportunities that look good, turning down paths that seem promising, or remaining in places that feel uncomfortable. It will require trust that goes beyond what you can see, a confidence that what God has spoken carries more weight than what the world is offering. This calling also reshapes your understanding of success. It is no longer defined by how far ahead you appear, but by how aligned you are. It is not measured by recognition, but by faithfulness. It is not about arriving quickly, but about arriving correctly. And this shift changes how you move through life. You become less concerned with proving something and more focused on becoming who you are meant to be. There is a strength that develops in this process, a quiet resilience that does not rely on external affirmation. You learn to stand firm in what you know God has shown you, even when there is no immediate evidence to support it. You learn to trust the unseen work, to believe in what is forming beyond your current reality. And this kind of strength cannot be easily shaken, because it is built on something deeper than circumstance. As you continue to walk in this calling, you begin to realize that being set apart was never meant to isolate you without purpose. It was meant to prepare you to carry something different, to walk in a way that reflects a deeper connection, to move with a clarity that is not easily influenced. And while few may understand this path, those who are called to it will recognize it, because they too have felt the weight of waiting, the depth of preparation, and the unmistakable pull toward a life that is guided by something greater than themselves.